to dreadful screams, where every shadow hides a story.
He never turned on his lights.
I moved to Willow Crescent in early spring, a small street, quiet, almost too quiet. After my breakup, I needed space. Somewhere calm, somewhere I could breathe again. The cul-de-sac looked perfect. Every house had neat lawns and trimmed hedges. Kids rode bikes until dusk. Sprinklers hissed in the evening. It smelled like cut grass and laundry soap. I remember thinking, this is peace. But there was one house that didn't fit, at the end of the curve. Number 19. No lights, curtains always closed, a gray porch that sagged just a little. When I asked the realtor about it, she shrugged. Old man used to live there, she said. Haven't seen him in a while. The grass wasn't overgrown. The mailbox wasn't full. Someone was taking care of it, but no one ever seemed to come or go. On ye. My first night, I stood on my porch with coffee. Every window on the street glowed warm yellow, except his. That house was a dark shape at the end of the row. I remember whispering, "Doesn't anyone live there?" A breeze answered, cool, still, carrying a faint smell of damp wood. I turned off my porch light and went inside. But before closing the door, I looked one more time. The house looked back at me, or at least it felt like it did. Days passed, then weeks, and still that house stayed dark. No lights, no movement, no sound. I started noticing small things. The mailbox was always empty. The trash bins appeared at the curb every Monday morning. The lawn stayed perfectly trimmed, but no one did it. Not that I ever saw. I worked from home, so I noticed details. The mail truck came around noon, but the driver never stopped at number 19. Still, the next morning, the mailbox flag was down. Someone was collecting it. But when I began watching from my kitchen window, each night, just before bed, nothing ever changed. Only the streetlights glowing softly across the pavement, except once. It was a Thursday. Late. Rain was falling hard, tapping against my window, and in the middle of that storm, I saw a faint light, a flashlight beam. It flickered inside number 19 for just a few seconds, then vanished. I froze. My hands went cold. I waited. Nothing. The rain kept falling, but I could swear I saw a shadow move behind those curtains, slow, deliberate, like someone pacing. The next morning I asked my neighbor, Mrs. Hawkins, about the house. She was watering her roses, wearing her usual sun hat. She frowned. "Oh, that place belonged to Mr. Gilroy. He passed years ago." "Years?" I asked. She nodded. "His son was supposed to sell it, but I haven't seen him in forever." "So, no one lives there?" She looked at me like she wasn't sure. "Well, dear, sometimes I smell smoke from his chimney in winter." "But that can't be right, can it?" Her hose hissed quietly. Water splashed on her shoes. I glanced toward the dark house. For a second, I thought I saw something shift in the upper window, like someone had stepped away from it. I didn't say anything, just smiled, and went back inside. That night I locked every door, and I made sure my porch light stayed on. About a week later, something strange started happening. Mail. At first, it was just one envelope. A letter slipped into my box by mistake. Addressed to number 19, the name wasn't familiar. To Mr. Peter Lorne. The ink looked faded, the paper old, almost yellow around the edges. I wrote return to sender and placed it back in the mailbox. The next day it was gone, but there was another one. A different name this time. Then another. And another. All addressed to people I'd never heard of. All for number 19. It didn't make sense. No one lived there, no mail carrier stopped there, but someone was taking them. I asked the mailman about it one morning. He frowned. "Number 19? That place is marked vacant. No active delivery." I showed him the letters. He stared at them. then quietly said, "I'll check with the office." The next morning, the same letters were back in my box, like someone had put them there again. Only this time, one was open. Inside was a small photo, a Polaroid. Faded. It showed a man standing on a porch. My porch. But it wasn't me. And it wasn't my house as it looked now. The siding was darker. The windows had old curtains. It looked like the house decades ago. I dropped the photo. My stomach twisted. That night I couldn't sleep. Every creak made me tense. The sound of branches brushing the siding, the hum of my refrigerator, all of it too loud, too alive. At around midnight I heard something outside. Soft footsteps on my porch. Slow. Uneven. I held my breath. Didn't move. A minute passed. Then another. Finally, I gathered the courage to peek through the blinds. No one. Just darkness. And, across the street, number 19. One of its upstairs curtains was moving, just slightly, like someone had let it fall back into place. I stepped away from the window, heart racing. Then I noticed something else. On my front door, a muddy handprint, right next to the handle. The handprint stayed for days. No rain came to wash it off. No reason for it to be there. It looked too fresh, too deliberate. I tried to ignore it, but something about that house kept pulling at me. Each night I'd catch myself staring out the window, just watching, waiting. Nothing moved. No car in the driveway. No lights inside, until one night. It was around 2 a.m. My power went out. The whole house went black. I sat up in bed, heart pounding. Then I saw it. Through my window, the house at the end of the street was glowing faintly. Not bright, just a dull, orange shimmer, like candlelight. For the first time since I moved in, number 19 was alive. I opened my curtains a little more. The light came from an upstairs window. It flickered, soft and slow. A shape moved behind it, tall, thin, unmoving for several seconds. I whispered to myself, "Who are you?" I stepped onto my porch. The air was still. No sound, no wind. Each step down the path felt wrong. The closer I got, the heavier the air seemed. I pretended I was checking the fuse box. That's what I told myself. But I kept looking at the window. The light inside dimmed, then brightened again. The shadow moved closer. It stopped right behind the curtain. I froze. For a moment I could see its outline. A head, shoulders, just standing there facing me. I couldn't breathe. Then, the light flickered out. Gone. Everything went dark again. The street lights buzzed back to life a second later. My house lights came on. The entire block looked normal, except number 19. Back to black. Still, empty. I went back inside, shaking. I locked every window, every door. I barely slept that night. But when I finally drifted off, I dreamed of that window, the glow, the shadow, and something whispering from the dark, "Turn on your lights." The next morning I couldn't stop thinking about that light. I needed to know who lived there, or who used to. So I started calling around. Town records, property listings, even the police station. Most people didn't know much. One woman from records said, "That address? It's listed as unoccupied. Owner deceased." I asked for the name. She paused, then said, "Harold Gilroy. Died 3 years ago. Heart attack. Lived alone." My chest tightened. I hung up the phone slowly. Mrs. Hawkins had been right. The man was gone. But then who had I seen? That night I couldn't focus on anything. Every sound made me jump. The ticking clock, the fridge hum, even my own footsteps. Around midnight I heard something again. Outside, soft, dragging steps. Across the porch, I turned off the TV, listened. Then, a faint rustling, like paper being slid under my door. I froze. Didn't move for almost a full minute. Then I looked. A single envelope lay on the floor. Old. Yellowed. My name wasn't on it. It was addressed to Harold Gilroy. The return address was blank. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was just one line, written in neat, fading ink. Don't forget to turn on the lights. I dropped it. It fluttered onto the rug. Then the lights in my kitchen flickered. Once, twice, and went out. The whole house fell silent. I backed toward the window, and through the glass I saw movement at number 19 again. Every curtain was shifting, like hands were brushing against them from inside. I whispered, "Stop." But they kept moving. Then the front door of that house creaked open, just slightly, enough to see the black inside. No one came out, but I swear, I saw something leaning in the doorway, watching. I turned on every lamp in my house that night, every single one, and I sat awake until sunrise. The next evening, the street went dark. Power outage, every house except one. Number 19. Its windows glowed, bright, brilliant, like fire trapped inside glass. I couldn't look away. I felt frozen in place. Through the blinds, I saw movement, shadows, figures, too many to count, moving slowly through the rooms. Some were tall, some short, some familiar. I realized with horror. They looked like my neighbors, people I had waved to, people I had laughed with, people I had trusted, and they were inside that house. I backed, away, heart pounding, breath shallow. Then I heard footsteps. Behind me. I spun. Nothing. I told myself it was imagination. It had to be. But my bedroom lamp flickered. Alone. No one near it. The next morning, police came. They had been called about the bright lights. Number 19 was empty. Just an empty, quiet house. No one inside. No evidence of anyone ever being there. I thought it was over, until I reached my kitchen. The lamp I always left off was on, its bulb cold, glowing softly, and I saw it, a shadow in the corner, tall, thin, motionless, watching me. I haven't slept properly since. I don't go outside after dark, and I never, ever look at number 19, but I know it watches. Always. Waiting. And sometimes I hear it whisper, "Don't forget to turn on the lights." I moved to a small town in Texas, needed peace, needed a fresh start. The house was cheap, old single-story with a white picket fence, backyard bigger than I expected, quiet street, few neighbors. It seemed perfect. Too perfect, maybe. The first day I carried boxes inside. The air smelled dry, dusty, and warm. Sunlight hit the faded walls in the late afternoon. Everything looked calm. Across the fence, an old man was digging. I stopped. He paused, looked up at me. "Evening," he said, a small smile, but his eyes, they felt sharp, like he knew something he shouldn't. I nodded and waved. He returned to digging, shovel moving slowly, methodically. That night, the sound of digging echoed in my head. Every scrape of metal against soil made my stomach twist. I told myself it was normal. Old man. Garden. But I couldn't shake it. Night after night, the digging continued. Always the same slow rhythm. Scrape, thud, scrape, thud. Sometimes I thought it stopped. Then a muffled thump from deeper in the yard. I peeked through the blinds. Nothing visible. Only the old man, shovel in hand, hunched over the ground. I tried to sleep. Impossible. The sounds became part of me. Every creak of my floorboards felt louder. I even caught myself timing the digging. midnight to 2 a.m. Every night. I thought about confronting him, but something stopped me. His smile was wrong, too calm, like he knew I was watching. The smell started next. Faint at first, earthy, wet, then sour, rotting. I stopped going outside after dark. But the digging didn't stop. It waited, patient, like it was calling me to look. I asked the neighbors about him. Most avoided my questions. One woman whispered, "He's been here since the 60s, always digging, always quiet." I went to the local diner, asked the bartender. "Past tenants left fast," she said. "No one stays long at that house." I started noticing little things. Tools perfectly lined up, soil piles strangely shaped, footprints in the dirt, only to vanish. One night, I saw something half buried, wrapped in plastic. I froze. The old man saw me through the fence. He smiled. "Just fixing up the garden," he said. I didn't sleep that night, or the night after. The sound of digging followed me in my dreams. Curiosity overtook fear. I waited outside one night. Moon was thin. Air smelled damp. The old man emerged, shovel in hand. He dug slowly, every scoop careful, deliberate. I crept closer, hiding behind a tree. He unearthed something small, wrapped tightly in black plastic. I gagged at the smell. He buried it again deeper, covered it carefully, patched the soil to make it look normal. I stumbled back, heart pounding. I had seen too much. I ran back inside, locked every door, couldn't stop shaking. What had I seen? The house felt alive, and I knew the digging wasn't finished. The next day I tried talking to him. "Sir, what exactly are you doing out there?" He looked at me, calm, smile still there. "Just fixing up the garden," he said. "I like things neat. I wanted to push further, ask about the smell, the digging, the things in plastic, but I didn't. His gaze was too sharp, like he knew everything I was thinking. That night, I watched again. The digging continued. The soil shifted unnaturally. The smell worse. I decided I had to see the truth. No matter what, I went into the backyard quietly, every footstep loud in my head. Then I saw it. Something moved beneath the soil, wrapped tightly, too human to ignore. I ran, straight to my car, heart hammering, called the police. By the time they arrived, the backyard was empty. No signs of anything. They said the house looked normal, tools in the shed. No signs of digging overnight. I packed and left town the next morning. Never looked back, but I still hear it sometimes. Scrape, thud, scrape, thud. And I know he's still out there, still digging, waiting for the next tenant.